My wife and her friends drove away laughing, leaving me stranded in 117-degree heat with no phone, no wallet, no way home.
The heat was so brutal you could feel it trying to peel skin right off your bones. I was standing on cracked pavement outside this beat-up Arizona gas station, just staring at the empty spot where our SUV was parked 10 minutes ago. The desert wind was like a blast furnace, throwing dust in my face that felt like a second skin of shame. My wife, Vanessa, and her friends Nikki, Jun, and Paige hadn't just driven off laughing. They took my wallet, my phone, even my backpack. They left me with nothing but the clothes sticking to my back in that suffocating heat. For a second, I just stood there, waiting. I was waiting for them to swing back around, for Vanessa to lean out the window with that bright, teasing laugh and say, "Got you, babe," like she always did after one of her so-called lighthearted jokes. I'd smile, pretend it was funny, and swallow that knot in my stomach, just like I had for 7 years, but this time, nothing. The desert was silent. The gas station attendant, a leathery old guy who looked like he'd seen it all, finally came out. "Son," he sighed, "they're not coming back." Happens more often than you'd think? And right then, something inside me just cracked. 3 hours I stood under that burning sun, every second pounding the truth home. This wasn't a joke. This was real. I replayed the last few days of our trip in my head, Nikki's nasty comments, June whispering behind her hand, Paige's constant judgmental stares. And Vanessa? She just laughed along, telling me I was being too sensitive. Now here I was, abandoned across state lines like a piece of trash they finally got rid of. When a dusty old pickup truck rolled in, the driver, a grizzled man who had more years behind him than ahead, leaned out. "You look cooked, partner. Need a lift?" Pride was a luxury I couldn't afford. My ride left me, I admitted. He didn't judge, he just nodded. "Hop in." His name was Ray. He let the old radio hum with Johnny Cash as we drove down that endless, empty road. I could have asked to use his phone to call Vanessa, but what was the point? She had made her choice, and it wasn't me. Now it was my turn to make mine. Ray dropped me off in Prescott at a shelter called Horizon House. He told me, sometimes the worst day becomes the first good step. I didn't get it then, but I would. The shelter was loud and smelled like disinfectant, but it was safe. The coordinator, Marcus, a guy built like a tank with tattoos up both arms, helped me get a new ID and a temporary bed. He didn't ask questions. He just said, "Some people are poison. Be glad you're out." My first job was washing dishes at Rosie's Diner. The work was exhausting, but it was mine. Every dollar I earned felt like I was taking back a piece of myself. Slowly, the wounds Vanessa left started to heal. And then there was Mara. She walked into the diner one day, buried in medical textbooks, running on pure caffeine and willpower. Her coffee went cold twice before she even noticed, so I just replaced it. She looked up with these tired eyes and gave me a grateful smile, and something in my chest just stirred. She became a regular. I learned she was a med student, brilliant but totally overwhelmed. She learned I was a man rebuilding his life from scratch. Our conversations turned into inside jokes, then into shared moments, then into something real. One night, in my tiny room above a laundromat, I told her everything. Mara didn't pity me or judge me. She just took my hand and said, "People like that don't deserve someone like you." We kissed for the first time that night. Years flew by. I went from dishwasher to line cook to manager. The owner, Georgia, eventually handed me the keys to a second location. When her arthritis got too bad, she offered to sell both diners to me. Mara and I took out a loan. We built a life. We adopted 2 stray cats and bought a small house. A life I never thought was possible. Then one day Vanessa showed up. She, Nikki, and Jin walked into my diner like ghosts from a life I'd long buried. Their jaws dropped when they saw me, not broken, not lost, but running the place with a confidence they never allowed me to have. "We need help," Vanessa said, her voice trembling. "Everything's falling apart." Of course, she didn't want forgiveness. She wanted money. I walked to the office, opened the safe, and counted out $87.95. I put it in an envelope and set it on their table. "The exact cost of a bus ticket from that gas station back to Phoenix," I said calmly. "That's all you get." Vanessa's face just crumpled. I told them to leave, and they did. I went back to my grill, to my life, not angry, just free. Later that night, sitting on the porch with Mara, she asked if I was okay. Yes, I said, and I meant it. I finally closed that chapter. Being abandoned in the desert didn't break me. It set me free, and the life I built afterward? That was the sweetest revenge of all. Thanks for listening to my story. If you've ever had to rebuild, let me know in the comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more stories like this. See you next time.